Welcome to Monster Transmissions. You're in Curt's Corner, and we get a lot of questions about lockup versus non-lockup, and what's the difference? How important is lockup? Well, lockup was engineered in vehicles starting like 1982, and Ford, GM, and Dodge all started introducing a clutch inside the converter. And when that clutch is applied, it reduces the drag and also makes it closer to a 1-to-1 ratio from the crank spinning to the input shaft of the transmission spinning. So that reduced drag will increase the fuel economy, which is what they were after, and give more performance and better drivability out of the vehicles that were currently manufactured. They've stayed with lockup since then. So most vehicles that are produced or manufactured from 1982 and newer all have a lockup clutch and a converter, including all imports, foreign domestic vehicles. All of them have a lockup clutch and a converter if it's an automatic transmission. So a lot of people ask, well, why do I need lockup? Well, lockup will reduce the drag and make your car more fuel efficient, as well as make it go at a higher speed at less RPM. So basically that's how that works. So lockup has a lot of advantages. Vehicles coming with lockup should go back with a lockup converter. If you run a non-lockup converter, you lose all those advantages. Now, if you don't have lockup in your vehicle and you want to add it, the transmission has to have the ability of engaging lockup. So what I have in front of me here is an example of a 700 or 460E lockup unit. So this is the input drum, and this actual sealing ring here will seal inside the stator, and oil will feed out the end of the input shaft, which will apply the lockup. So when it goes into lockup mode, oil will then transfer through this input shaft, which goes in this situation into the converter. So now I'll take the converter apart and show you exactly how that operates. So if you have lockup, this is typically how it's set up. We'll remove the stator and the bearings. So here is the lockup clutch in the converter. This is the actual fiber material which is considered the lockup clutch. This is, when it's applied, will push against this plate, which is the back of the converter. This is the hub. This will actually apply in this area here. And when that happens, it'll reduce the drag, and it'll be more closer, a 1-to-1 gear ratio in the transmission. Now, if the lockup clutch fails, this material will burn and wear away, and sometimes distort the actual plate itself, and lockup will no longer operate. So if you choose to go non-lockup in your application, we have to have a special built converter for non-lockup. And that means that when oil feeds through here, it will not apply as clutch. And the simple way we correct that, we don't put it in. So therefore, there is no clutch plate in the converter, which will reduce the actual spinning weight of the converter, and also will not be a restrictor. Because if you have a lockup converter and you don't apply the circuit, when you're going down the road 60, 70 miles an hour, one, it's going to take a lot more RPM to maintain that speed, and two, this plate actually becomes a restrictor plate. It will reduce the effectiveness of the converter to operate. It will cause it to heat up, and when it heats up, it heats the fluid, which will overheat the transmission and burn the transmission up. So you do not want to run a lockup converter and the circuit not wired in, or else the ramifications are you'll overheat the converter, which will overheat the fluid and the transmission and cause it to prematurely fail. So, but if you have any other questions on lockup, on if you should run it or not, you can call us at 1-800-708-0087, and I'll talk to you then.